Thanks to the Ministry of Health and Childcare, every single Tuesday and Wednesday, we are fighting HIV. We want to get to a year HIV, and it is so possible. And so all we need to do is get information, because most of us, perish because of lack of knowledge, because of ignorance. But we are empowering you every Tuesday and Wednesday. So do tune in and feel free to send those questions. You don't have to put your name on it. It can be anonymous. 0731168045. Today we're talking about diets, the importance of diets as far as infants are concerned. And I have a nutrition specialist from UNICEF, Zephania Gomora. And we've been talking about a lot of things, but how do you distinguish between complementary feeding and mixed feeding?
Okay, thank you. Complementary feeding, like what we described earlier on, is when you introduce other foods, other liquids into the child's diet after 6 months, when you're breastfeeding, but now you're introducing other foods. But if you introduce these other foods earlier than 6 months, that's called mixed feeding. You're giving water, you're giving porridge to a child who is not yet ready for those things. And if it happens before 6 months, that's your mixed feeding. And if you remember yesterday when you were talking of exclusive breastfeeding, there are actually dangers with mixed feeding when you introduce too early. In this era of HIV also, if you introduce porridge earlier, the gut walls of the child will not be actually strong, and they are bruised. And if they are bruised by that porridge, that can actually help the virus to pass through to the blood of the child. We are trying also to prevent mother-to-child transmission of HIV. Yes. So if you are not careful, if you do mixed feeding at that particular point, that's the danger of it. And the other danger is that we are saying during the first 6 months, breastfeeding is providing adequate nutrients, enough to cover what the child needs. But now if you introduce other things, they are taking the place of breast milk. Already they are filling the tummy with, we call them empty calories, because sometimes it's just water that you are giving, and sometimes it's that porridge that you are giving. You are already filling the child's tummy. Remember, during the first few days, the tummy is not very big. It's only a few meals that should actually be filled in, 20 meals or so, and to increase as the child grows.
Okay.
So if you are already replacing that, she will not actually have room for the breast milk that is providing the adequate nutrients.
Okay.
Yes.
It's really interesting there that you mentioned water, because most of us don't look at water as mixed feeding, because we're thinking, okay, it's a human being needs water. So when we're exclusively breastfeeding the first 6 months, no water.
Yeah, we don't
even no
water, because breast milk itself, during that time, it has adequate water and adequate nutrients. If you start breastfeeding, when you start, you see that the first milk that comes in, we call it full milk. It's very watery, and that the water that it provides to the baby. And later on, that thick milk comes in, we call it hind milk. It's mature milk that will actually be coming, and that's the nutrients. So we encourage when they are breastfeeding, they spend a lot of time on one breast also, so that the child gets both water and the nutrients. So it will be adequate from the breast milk during the first 6 months. You only need to add more maybe after 6 months when you are introducing other foods.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that you're all listening, mothers, young mothers out there, whether there's a chance HIV is there or not. When you're exclusively breastfeeding, no water, I need water, or oil. Even I know there's situations where they're like, okay, give the baby oil, oil. So it's a big no. Let's just exclusively breast milk. Okay, what happens when the baby is not feeling well? Can a baby what happens with the frequency then, and what kind of feeding do I continue with when we started talking on complementary feeding?
Yes.
Do I continue with that diet, or do I go back to breast milk, chete, or what happens?
You don't necessarily need to stop feeding with the complementary foods, especially if the child is already after 6 months and when they are ill. What we encourage mothers and caregivers to do is they should actually continue breastfeeding more frequently now during illness, even if the child has got diarrhea. Or this will actually, breast milk, if you talked about the benefits of breast milk, it is antibodies, and it will help fight against the illness that the child is actually having. So you should continue.
Even when it's teething and the child is throwing up and,
Yeah,
both.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you should continue breastfeeding. That's the first thing. Then you should realize that your baby needs more of the food and liquids actually while he is sick. Why? Because there's decreased, there's more demand from the infection that is within the child's body, or to use more energy and also the nutrients. But if you see that your child's appetite is decreased, you should encourage him or her to eat small frequent foods. You don't really have to have a watch to say, your feeding time is 12 o'clock. It's not yet that time.
Tablespoons. Yes, so you can say, no, we're going to make it 1 p.m. one tablespoon. Exactly.
You make them small but more frequently, so that you can also help the child to appreciate that there's need for food. And especially when the child is also vomiting or is nauseated, you need to do it small but more frequent. You increase on the frequency. Then you need to offer your baby or the child simple foods like porridge. You don't need to have complicated things that you are giving. And during that time, avoid also spicy foods or fatty foods. It is better for him to not to have those spices within the diet that she is having. Then after the baby is recovering, actively encourage him or her to eat one additional meal. They need to recover, and they need more energy to do that. So for the following 1 to 2 weeks, you need to add an extra meal, depending on the age. You remember when we talked in the previous segment about the age-appropriate feeding, to say during this time 1 to 2 meals, 3 meals, but you need now to have an extra meal. Why? Because the child is recovering from illness.
Are there other nutritional issues to consider in the first 2 years of life?
Yeah, of course, during the first, not only 2 years, but even during the first 5 years of life, there are other nutrition and health issues that the child has, the caregivers have to consider. We should actually go for vitamin A supplementation. We know from the studies that have been done, our children are vitamin A deficient. So diet alone will not actually give them what is enough. So every 6 months, mothers should actually go to health facilities to ask for vitamin A supplementation. They should routinely go for growth monitoring on a monthly basis, so that the child is monitored on their growth. Yes, kuskero. Mwedzi nemwedzi vachiona kuti mwana ari kukura zvakanaka here kana kuti haasi kukanganisika here. And also when those programs like deworming programs also come, they should also send their children there. Why? Because if you live with worms, even if you eat
as much
adequately, but there's competition between the worm and your body, so you may not win. So we encourage them. All those health and nutrition programs that are within our communities, let's try and reach out to them. They are important. They are not to kill children, but they are really to keep them safe, alive, and kicking.
Thank you very much to Zephania Gomora, who is a nutrition specialist. Thank you for those messages that you sent through. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but we will look at them next week on Tuesday. Stay tuned to my station, your station. There's more coming up.